What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's up? Let me do some little checking here real quick. Make sure we good. Like super fast here. Hold on. Make sure everything is A to the OK. All right. Looks like we're good. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? All right. So we're good there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to take a good look at this picture here. Take a good look at this picture here. You see these two pictures here? Can you see the two pictures here? All right, on you guys looking on your left, you got the unretouched photo showing May 1944 new camp arrivals at Auschwitz. And then you see on the right, cosmetically improved version on the Wiesenthal website. And it might have been formerly on the website, probably no longer. All right. I just want you guys to keep that picture in mind because we're going to discuss that a little later in the show. All right. We're going to discuss that a little later in the show. I want to welcome you guys to Thoughts of the Week. All right. You're definitely rocking with the best. So let's get it cracking with the show.
Do you know what you're listening to? You're listening to Thoughts of the Week.
Oh, how's that?
All right, let me just fix some things here real quick. Make sure we are plugged in and tapped in. Now I think we're good. Let me just see something right quick. I think we're good here. Let me just check. All right. Yeah, we're good. All right, ladies and gents. What's going on? Welcome to Thoughts of the Week podcast. Starting a little later than my normal 9 p.m. show, because as you guys seen earlier, we did a little freestyle. Little freestyle fun. I kind of looked at it like we was in a jazz session and just was playing around, and if things evolved and came together, then they evolved and came together. So enjoyed that, had a lot of fun with that. And maybe we'll do some more in the future. You know what I mean? So again, I say take a look at these two pictures because later on in the show, we're going to let you know about these two pictures here. All right. So move that out the way. Booyah. There you go. And so, of course, I call this show Real Eyes, Realize, Real Lies. All right. Real Eyes, Realize. All right. So the last episode I did was which I basically was saying, you know, what lies did Professor Griff and Nick Cannon tell? And I think incidentally, I think there's a by Griff. I hadn't seen it, but I kind of read the title of it, and it was referring to having proof that what he said was true. So I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna check it out a little later on. Maybe tomorrow. All right. So again, I'm calling this Real Eyes. The eyes you see, realize, or even the third eye. The eyes that you see with in your third eye, the real eyes, realize lies. All right. And so why did I say that? Well, if you guys seen with Rabbi Abraham Cooper, there was a lot said in there, a lot mentioned. Beginning, I watched some of it. I stopped it because just looking at it before, you can tell there's some funny business going on. This little slickness going on somewhere. Started looking around, started researching some things, and then came across some stuff, which I'm gonna show you tonight or this morning, coming close to the morning time. So first off, I took some notes here, and this was some things that were on Cannon's class with Mr. Cooper, and what I noticed was that it seemed like Abraham Cooper or Rabbi the Simon Wiesenthal Center and the different things in regards to that, and I forget the name of it. I don't know if that's the center or there's a separate museum that deals with the Jewish Holocaust. That, and he also talked about what he said Farrakhan had. And so we're going to get into all of that as well. And so, again, I go back to the lab where did Nick Cannon and Professor Griff lie? Something to that effect. What lies did they tell? So, guys, some lies that Rabbi Abraham Cooper told. All right. And then I'm going to show you some. All right. So let's start off just by I want y'all guys to listen to this real quick. Pull it up. Of course, we can't play video because YouTube, I don't know about Facebook, have an issue. But there's always, if one doesn't have an issue on one thing, the other one has an issue on the other thing. So what I'm going to do audio for you guys real quick, just to kind of set the stage a little bit. I want y'all to listen to a few pieces of audio. So let me get that pulled up. And by the way, this is not a hate speech show. Let me mention that. This is not about mentioning or saying anything hateful. This is just bringing out some information. All right. That's all this is about. This is about bringing out information. So let me pull this up here. And let me just make sure, okay, yeah, we're good on that. And should be able to play here. Let me just pull this up here. And let's listen to this real quick. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the times correct. Listen to two sets of audio, okay, by the same two people. This is part of the Nick Cannon class with him interviewing Rabbi Abraham Cooper. All right. So we're going to listen to a little of this. And Nick Cannon mentioned that, yeah, there's people they're going to take this interview and pull clips. Yeah, but we're pulling clips of your own interview, Nick Cannon. We're not going to, or at least me, I'm not going to try to set it up in such a way where things look fraudulent. I'm just playing parts of the clip. That's it. And it's not my voice. your voice and Abraham Cooper's voice. All right. So let's take a listen.
Into, because I felt like so many people got hurt when I said that, you know, the true Hebrews, and it wasn't, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have used the true, and then like just like if there's Hebrew blood that I believe is flowing through my body and Hebrew blood that's flowing through your body, that doesn't separate us. That doesn't cancel you out. That makes us brothers. That's why I sit here and say my brother or my sister, because I'm finding commonality, not get out of here. You guys aren't.
I'm with you, except for this one thing we have to confront and we have to state, and that is the following. Unless Louis Farrakhan is an agent of white supremacy, he's made a choice for reasons I never understood.
I definitely don't believe that.
Okay, I don't believe that either. So it means that he's made the choice to set up statements that are designed to divide us, that are designed to keep us apart. You can't look, you can say maybe Hebrew, okay, when you say Judaism's a gutter religion, when you say Hitler was a great man.
We all know the power of words. We do. And that's why we're sitting here
and he's a much more powerful communicator than the two of us put together. That's the truth.
He's an amazing orator, like you said.
All right, so that's one part of the clip. All right, so I'm gonna play another part of this clip. All right, this was more later in the interview, and now what I'm getting ready to play for you now is earlier on in the interview. All right, matter of fact, I'm gonna play this one more time before I play the second one. All right, just so you can hear what Abraham Cooper was saying.
When I say that, you know, the true Hebrews, and it wasn't, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have used the true, and then like just like if there's Hebrew blood that I believe is flowing through my body and Hebrew blood that's flowing through your body, that doesn't separate us. That doesn't cancel you out. That makes us brothers. That's why I sit here and say my brother or my sister, because I'm finding commonality, not get out of here. You guys aren't.
I'm with you, except for this one thing we have to confront and we have to state, and that is the following.
Now, in this clip, you heard Nick Cannon state that, you know, he's not canceling out Jews and then saying that we are, meaning black people are the original Hebrews. And so he's explaining this to Abraham Cooper, and then Abraham Cooper states like, hey, I'm with you, but this is what we need to address. And this is what Abraham Cooper is so concerned about. Didn't say anything about Nick Cannon telling a lie about anything, even when he made a statement then that we are the Jews, and then, hey, y'all shouldn't feel out because I'm saying we all brothers. And not one time did he say, hey, that's a lie, Nick, or hey, that's not true, anything. He didn't say anything of the sort. This is what he said. This is what he was so concerned about.
Unless Louis Farrakhan
right here
is an agent of white supremacy, he's made a choice for reasons I never understood.
I definitely don't believe that.
Okay, I don't believe that either. So it means that he's made the choice to set up statements that are designed to divide us, that are designed to keep us apart. You can't look, you can say maybe Hebrew, okay, when you say Judaism's a gutter religion, when you say Hitler was a great man.
Judaism is a gutter religion, Hitler a great man. That's what he's saying. Farrakhan said, right?
We do. And that's why we're sitting here.
And he's a much more powerful communicator than the two of us put together. That's the truth.
He's an amazing orator, like you said.
All right, so he's kind of giving Farrakhan some props by saying, well, he's a better orator, a great speaker than you and I both put together, meaning Abraham Cooper and Nick Cannon put together. But he's saying it in such a way like he's saying like Farrakhan is devious with his speaking, as opposed to just like having respect for him for being a great speaker. All right. So just keep that in mind. He mentioned the Judaism thing and gutter religion and Hitler being a great man. All right. Keep that in mind. Now I'm gonna play this earlier part of the video. Okay.
Old Farrakhan lines. Now, and I understand exactly that for many people in the Black community, when they hear Farrakhan, they think of Million Man March.
And
They think about Black empowerment.
leadership.
They think about leadership. They think about one of the greatest orators in America, which is true.
Very true.
What we think about Farrakhan is
Okay. He's saying black people see Farrakhan in one light, and I'm gonna play this back here in a second. But then you hear Abraham Cooper saying, "But what we think," meaning people like him, white, Jewish, the Jewish types that look like him. What we think is this, and then he explains what the we thinks about Farrakhan. Again, this show has nothing to do with bashing anybody or hate speech. It's just reporting on comments and things being said and straightening these things out. All right. So none of this is hate speech. It's just bringing out some information. Is basically what I'm doing tonight or this morning now.
Farrakhan
All right.
lines. Now, and I understand exactly that for many people in the Black community, when they hear Farrakhan, they think of Million Man March. They think about Black empowerment.
Leadership.
They think about leadership. They think about one of the greatest orators in America, which is true.
Very true.
What we think about Farrakhan is a person who has invested a lot of his energies in the hatred of the Jewish people, who's insulted us, said Hitler's a great man, I practice a gutter religion, in some ways really inexplicable. And these are themes that, as I mentioned, he's one of the most honest people in America because he's never changed. These are themes that he brought to Los Angeles in 1984, and which were repeated very often in his Savior Day speeches, across the country. And now with social media platforms reaching more and more of the younger generations.
And speaking of the young generation, as someone who's received, several lessons, whether it's through social media, whether it's my own readings, my own understanding.
All right. So again, that's 2 times as part of the interview that he said Farrakhan made these offensive statements and so on and so forth, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up some information that refutes or what the great rabbi has stated. Rabbi made some statements about Farrakhan, or as he called them, Farrakhan. He made some interesting statements, right? Let's see here. So I'm going to pull up some information here. All right. Let me see here. Let's see here. So let me pull up some audio here. Okay. Let me just get it straight. 49, 359. All righty. Here we go. Let me play this audio again one more time for you, ladies and gents, to hear it. Let me just pull up the audio really fast so you can hear for yourself. And then we're going to play the rebuttal to that. All right, here it is once again by Abraham
the old
Cooper.
Farrakhan lines. Now, and I understand exactly that for many people in the Black community, when they hear Farrakhan, they think of Million Man March. They think about Black empowerment,
leadership.
They think about leadership. They think about one of the greatest orators in America, which is true.
Very true.
What we think about Farrakhan is a person who has invested a lot of his energies in the hatred of the Jewish people, who's insulted us, said Hitler's a great man, I practice a gutter religion, in some ways really inexplicable. And these are themes that, as I mentioned, he's one of the most honest people in America because he's never changed. These are themes that he brought to Los Angeles in 1984, and which were repeated very often in his Savior Day speeches.
Notice he brought up something that happened in 1984, and then he said, "Oh, he brings them up in his Savior speeches as well." All right, let me finish it up, and then we're gonna play the next thing.
And now with social media platforms reaching more and more of the younger generations.
All right, so you heard what he said, right? So now I'm gonna play something for you real quick, and then you just tell me close to what the Rabbi Abraham Cooper stated. All right, so here it is.
And he's speaking, and he mentions Adolf Hitler. And this is a video that many of them continue to attempt to use to skew the minister's words and to, I guess, make others not want to be next to him. And we've even seen this in recent years where, you know, big Twitter accounts and influencers would bow down to the Jewish people who came and said, well, you're supporting a man who said Hitler was a great man without getting the full context. So for those who have never heard the full context or seen the full video other than the small sound bites that they always share, here's the full context from the minister right here.
Here the Jews don't like Farrakhan, so they call me Hitler. Well, that's a good name. Hitler was a very great man. He wasn't great for me as a black person, but he was a great German. And he rose Germany up from the ashes of her defeat by the united force of all of Europe and America after the First World War. Yet Hitler took Germany from the ashes and rose her up and made her the greatest fighting machine of the 20th century. Brothers and sisters, and even though Europe and America had deciphered the code that Hitler was using to speak to his chief of staffs, they still had trouble defeating Hitler even after knowing his plans in advance. Now, I'm not proud of Hitler's evil against Jewish people.
Now, that statement right there alone, if they would have allowed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's words to play, will give you all the context that you need. So I'm going to go back just a few seconds and let him say that once again.
Now, I'm not proud of Hitler's evil against Jewish people. but that's a matter of record. He rose Germany up from nothing. Well, in a sense, you could say there's a similarity in that we are rising our people up from nothing. But don't compare me with your wicked killers.
Then you have this one.
All right. So there you go. The rabbis made a statement. Let me play that back again. Let me go back to the original comment, and then we'll go back one more time, because I guess that's all that really needs to be played is one more time. 5811. Let's go here. Pull this up, get it queued up, and let you guys listen to it one more time. A little shorter version of it. And then we'll listen to what Farrakhan said. All right. And then there's going to be another part of it. Okay.
All to say, there's a commonality. I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, and that's what I want to tap into, because I felt like so many people got hurt when I said that, you know, the true Hebrews, and it wasn't, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have used the true, and then like just like if there's Hebrew blood that I believe is flowing through my body and Hebrew blood that's flowing through your body, that doesn't separate us. That doesn't cancel you out. That makes us brothers. That's why I sit here and say my brother or my sister, because I'm finding commonality, not get out of here. You guys aren't.
I'm with you, except for this one thing we have to confront and we have to state, and that is the following. Unless Louis Farrakhan is an agent of white supremacy,
we have to confront.
He's made a choice for reasons I never understood.
I definitely don't believe that.
Okay. I don't believe that either. So it means that he's made the choice to set up statements that are designed to divide us, that are designed to keep us apart. You can't look, you can say maybe Hebrew, okay. When you say Judaism's a gutter religion, when you say Hitler was a great man,
we all know the power of words. We do, and that's why we're sitting here.
And he's a much more powerful communicator than the two of us put together. That's the truth.
He's an amazing orator, like you.
All right, so you heard that again, right? So tell me if what he said there sounds like this. All right. Let me pull that up. Tell me if these sound the same. All right, let's take a listen
and
one more time.
He's speaking, and he mentions Adolf Hitler. And this is a video that many of them continue to attempt to use to skew the minister's words and to, I guess, make others not want to be next to him. And we've even seen this in recent years where, you know, big Twitter accounts and influencers would bow down to the Jewish people who came and said, well, you're supporting a man who said Hitler was a great man, without getting the full context. So for those who have never heard the full context or seen the full video, other than the small sound bites that they always share, here's the full context from the minister right here.
Here the Jews don't like Farrakhan, so they call me Hitler. Well, that's a good name. Hitler was a very great man. He wasn't great for me as a black person, but he was a great German. And he rose Germany up from the ashes of her defeat by the united force of all of Europe and America after the First World War.
So I'm gonna play a little bit more, but after you hear that bit, you'll say, oh, well, yeah, Rabbi Abraham was right. but they only give you that one little sound bite. They don't play the whole thing. So just again, we're gonna play it one more time.
Speaking, and he mentions Adolf Hitler. And this is a video that many of them continue to attempt to use to skew the minister's words and to, I guess, make others not want to be next to him. And we've even seen this in recent years where, you know, big Twitter accounts and influencers would bow down to the Jewish people who came and said, well, you're supporting a man who said Hitler was a great man, without getting the full context. So for those who have never heard the full context or seen the full video, other than the small sound bites that they always share, here's the full context from the minister right here.
Here the Jews don't like Farrakhan, so they call me Hitler. Well, that's a good name. Hitler was a very great man. He wasn't great for me as a black person, but he was a great German. And he rose Germany up from the ashes of her defeat by the united force of all of Europe and America after the First World War. Yet Hitler took Germany from the ashes and rose her up and made her the greatest fighting machine of the 20th century. Brothers and sisters, and even though Europe and America had deciphered the code that Hitler was using to speak to his chief of staffs, they still had trouble defeating Hitler even after knowing his plans in advance. Now, I'm not proud of Hitler's evil against Jewish people.
Now, that statement right there alone, if they would have allowed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's words to play, will give you all the context that you need. So I'm going to go back just a few seconds and let him say that once again.
Now, I'm not proud of Hitler's evil against Jewish people, but that's a matter of record. He rose Germany up from nothing. Well, in a sense, you could say there's a similarity in that we are rising our people up from nothing. But don't compare me with your wicked killers.
Then you have this one, another point that the minister have explained over and over again about Judaism being a gutter religion.
And I practice a gutter religion.
And if I tell you that I never called Judaism a gutter religion, take it to the bank, because I ain't afraid of a damn one of you. If I said it, I'll stand up and say, yeah, I said it. What the hell are you going to do about it? But I never said it. And for 21 years, you can't even write about me. If I do something good, yes, but he's the man that called Judaism a gutter religion. I never mentioned the name Judaism. Is what I said. Right. And I stand on what I said. That state called Israel, yes, sir, has not had any peace at the time in 40 years. That's right. And she will not have any peace. It's 50 some years later. Still ain't got no peace. I said she can't have peace where there's lying and stealing and murder and using God's name as a shield for your dirty religion. Your religion ain't what you profess. Your religion is your practice. You can't call me, telling me you for Jesus and hang me the next day and I can't get justice. You practicing a dirty religion. You call yourself a jihadist, strap a bomb on yourself, and walk in among innocent people and set it off? You practice. Call yourself a jihadist, strap a bomb on yourself, and walk in among innocent people and set it off? You practicing a dirty religion. And whether you're a Jew, a Christian, or a Muslim, all of us have fallen short of the glory of God. And we use religion to protect our behinds from the crap that we do in the name of Abraham, Moses, Jesus, the prophets, and Muhammad.
So at this point, I'm just hearing a bunch of strawman arguments from the Jewish community. Can one of y'all please comment below the lie that he said about the Jewish community? Because that Hitler point, we can play it out. The gutter religion point, we can play it out. He was debunking that on the Donahue show back in the day. That's all y'all got?
In some ways, really inexplicable. And these are themes that, as I mentioned, he's one of the most honest people in America because he's never changed.
I think America deserves an.
All right, so there you go. All right, there you go. You can play this back, whether you're listening to the audio podcast or you're watching the video. Play this back. All right, and you'll get the you need. All right, so I'm not going to even go over this 2 and 3 and 4 times. Let's go into the next thing. Since Rabbi Abraham, and I'm not by any means trying to defend Farrakhan. I'm not part of the Nation of Islam. I'm just bringing, and you can do what you want to do with the information. All right, but times are definitely. I think this, whether some believe it's fake, whether some believe it's real, on this coronavirus, this has definitely changed the game on a lot of fronts in a lot of different ways. That a lot of black people are not going for the okie doke anymore. They're not going for the tricks. They're not going for people. Just because you're saying somebody's anti-Semitic, you're going to have to show and prove how somebody's being anti-Semitic with because you said so, and then that's it. And I think another thing I was thinking about that Nick Cannon did that I was talking to some people about was that I believe that plan and the strategy for doing the interview, and although at times he sounded like he was kind of softening up, there was a time when he was I think the part 2 he had to actually do a part 2 of the interview, stop abruptly in the middle of his interview, and so he had to do a part 2. And I think in the part 2 half, or the part 2 piece of it, he kind of put Abraham Cooper in a corner to some degree, and he still, the Rothschilds in the part 2 piece of Cannon's class, and so as though he's like, well, we're not getting no money from it, and we're not getting this, and we're not getting that. And I'll also a book in a second after I show you something else before we close and get out of here. But Abraham Cooper was at, I don't think that ain't true. There's no Jews running this nothing over here, and I don't see any money from it. And kind of like just casually kind of just brushing off the whole thing without having to go into detail, right? So that was interesting in itself as well. Okay. I found that really interesting. Let's see here. So what I'm going to show you guys now is a very interesting. Let me just pull something else up here. Let me pull another background up. Interesting of information. I thought it was very interesting. All right. And I'm going to pull this up here in a second. Okay. So let me see here. Here we go. Let me pull this up. All right. This should be it right here. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Because I said I would get back to this. You guys see this picture here, right? At the start of the show, I mentioned these two pictures here. All right. So what I'm going to show you right now will be in response to the reasoning why I showed you this picture here. Okay. Let me put it in a full piece. There you go. You see one picture looks like on the right, looks like it could be some smoke. This seems to be like the cosmetically doctored version compared to the left one, right? Which was said to be not retouched photo showing May 1944 new camp arrivals at Auschwitz, right? Right? So check this out. All right. Now, what I'm going to pull up now is an article here that you guys will find very interesting. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Had some technical difficulties, so hmm. There we go. All right, so we're back. Something happened with the computer. It went out kind of suddenly. I don't know if it was for my doing. I didn't click anything, but I seen that it wanted to restart, so I had to reschedule the restart. But I ended up restarting the computer anyway, so it could have been on me. All right, so I'll just take it like that. But we are back. All right. So for those who will be listening to the audio, you're going to get the edited version, which means you won't hear that space that was in between from when you're watching the live video. And so you won't have to worry about it, those who will be listening to the audio podcast. So again, let me go back to the screen I was referring to. Let's go here first to bring back this to refresh everybody's memory. Here's some here's one picture on one side, and then there's a doctored, the same picture on the right hand side, but it was doctored. All right. And earlier you heard the interviews with Rabbi Abraham Cooper, right? And he's, it just seems like nobody's disputing for the most part, or he wasn't. I guess he's representing a larger group or a smaller group, who knows. Rabbi Cooper was pretty much representing somebody on somebody's behalf, because he really didn't get into too much saying that Nick Cannon or Professor Griff lied. They try to keep not mentioning Professor Griff's name, apparently on purpose. I guess if you don't mention his name, Professor Griff stays irrelevant to people. But if you bring up his name, then even if you talk bad about him, then it's still bringing up his name, and people are going to want to check him out. So I guess that's a pretty slick way for making it that he doesn't exist by not mentioning his name. All right. So, but he never really says, from what I can tell, the best of what I can tell, he doesn't really dispute Nick Cannon or Professor Griff. He mentions a little bit about, hey, the central banking system isn't this. But really, what he really wasn't asked, or nothing really touched on, was whether or not any of the Rothschilds are Jewish or were Jewish, and anybody, if there's a central banking system, are they operated by Jewish people? All right, never was really asked, and he wasn't really mentioning. All right, so the pictures I showed you, I'm going to pull up an article, but real quick, I'm also touch a little bit on this book right here. All right. This is also part of the controversy. Yeah, I got the book too. And although I really haven't really read much of the book, I mean, literally just I could probably count how many pages on my hand. I just kind of flipped to 1 or 2 pages here, 1 or 2 pages there, and then I kind of put it down for a long time. But since this came back up, I guess I'm gonna do a lot more reading again and kind of looking through it. But as I was flipping right before I came on live, I flipped to a very interesting page, or pages, and I'm going to also touch on that here in a few minutes. All right. Banking on Slavery, the Jewish Banking Network in Slavery and Jim Crow. All right. So we're going to touch on that real quick here in a minute. So now let's get back to the picture issue, right? Let me pull up this article for y'all. You guys can check it out. It's the finalcall.com. I'm gonna show you the title of it so you guys can get it. Jackie Muhammad wrote this piece, and I don't know if she's part of the Nation of Islam's research team or not. I think it's called the Nation of Islam's research team, but maybe she's part of that or has some dealings with that or not. I'm not completely sure, but she wrote an article. Actually, I think she wrote a few articles here. I'm gonna pull up a couple of other articles as well. I'm not gonna get too much deep into the other two articles, but we're gonna take a look at this article here. And I'm gonna try to find the places in particular that will be very interesting and you will be very interested in knowing. And I will say this as well, as I'm looking for the part. I read some of it before, and I always want to make sure I got it right. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, I got it here. So I'm gonna read something for you guys. But again, let me pull this up. I'll let you see the title, so you will be able to pull it up on your own and take a thorough look at it yourself, and maybe you want to go into further research on it. Okay, so that's the title of it. Go to finalcall.com, as you can see on the top left right here, finalcall.com. Don't worry about the news part. It's finalcall.com. Here is the title of the article. And you can read it from the beginning. Let me see here. I'll read this first paragraph and then I'm going to skip down a few. The Simon Wiesenthal Center, also lettered SWC, one of the most powerful Jewish organizations in the world, has portrayed itself as an international human rights organization, but is in reality an apologist for the Zionist state of Israel. The Wiesenthal Center has now targeted the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan because of his publication of The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2, and the two landmark speeches entitled Who Are the Real Children of Israel? All right. So this was 10 years ago. This was October the 12th, 2010. We're in 2020. All right, not too far away from October. All right, so I'm gonna scroll down and I want y'all to check this out here. Hopefully this is at the right spot. Let me see here. All right, let me see here. Just want to make sure. All right, so I'm gonna read right here. If you guys can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the cursor there. You may not see the cursor. You might not be seeing it on the screen, but here's where I'm going to read it from. It says, what is generally unknown is that the Simon Wiesenthal Center has a well-documented history of lies, distortions, and exaggerations, and they are moving against the minister to deflect attention away from the ugly controversies that have surrounded the center, meaning the Wiesenthal Center. So in order to deflect the controversies that the center has been involved in, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, they're putting out lies and distortions and exaggerations. So let's take a look. That's a tactic, okay? So this is also, not only that I'm reading something from here, but also study the tactics that are being used. So when you recognize them, you can go, oh, that's the game they're playing. All right. So the Simon Wiesenthal Center has a well-documented history of lies, distortions, and exaggerations, and they are moving against the ministers to deflect attention away from the ugly controversies that have surrounded the center. Blacks, Latinos, Muslims, as well as members of the Jewish community itself have condemned the center, meaning the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the poor quality of its research. Now I'm going to read that again. Blacks, Latinos, Muslims, as well as members of the Jewish community itself have condemned the center, meaning the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the poor quality of its research, the center's research, the people involved in researching. All right. I did read earlier in this article that the Simon Wiesenthal Center, one of the most powerful Jewish organizations in the world, has portrayed itself as an international human rights organization, right? So again, Blacks, Latinos, Muslims, as well as members of the Jewish community itself have condemned the center and the poor quality of its research. This universal condemnation has led to its being ridiculed internationally as an organization built on lies. All right. So you were saying, I don't know if you're trying to say that Nick Cannon and Professor Griff is lying, but the center is built on lies. All right. Let me see, it reads further. Among their many documented ruses, they doctored a World War II photograph of concentration camp prisoners. That was the picture I showed you in the beginning of the show. And then a little later on, they doctored a World War II photograph of concentration camp prisoners, painting in smoke billowing from chimneys, intending to make viewers believe that it was from Jews who were being incinerated. After it was disclosed that the center had inserted the smoke in that picture, the center removed it from the photograph and eventually removed the picture from its website. All right. So this is who we're dealing with, who's coming out here and getting on Nick Cannon or anybody else who speaks up and apparently must be telling some truth somewhere, right? And also, let me mention this. In the interview, Abraham and Nick, in the interview, Abraham even stated that it would have been okay if Nick and Professor Griffith were like at a restaurant or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. But he was saying it would have been cooler, like if y'all were just talking amongst yourselves at a restaurant, or I say like a Starbucks or something like that. Now, that was kind of interesting to say, for him to say that, because it's like, so it would have been cool for them to say it there, and yet you could still be around a lot of people. But because you said it on a platform where the potential of millions of people paying attention to you, that's a problem. So what does that tell you? He's like, yeah, it was cool if y'all sat at a restaurant amongst yourselves talking. In other words, like, hey, he wasn't supposed to say that on a platform that millions of people and probably millions of black people could or was or might be watching you telling this information, right? That's interesting, ain't it? Anyway, back to this article here. After it was disclosed that the center had inserted the smoke, the center removed it, meaning the Simon Wiesenthal Center, removed it from the photograph and eventually removed the picture from its website. Incredibly, the center tried to explain away the embarrassment, claiming that the smoke was the result of a smudge, an explanation no one believed. All right, let me see here a little bit further. Okay. Mark Weber, the director of the Institute for Historical Review, wrote that the Simon Wiesenthal Center's record of exaggerating anti-Jewish sentiment to raise money is no secret. Even the Anti-Defamation League has acknowledged that the center makes inaccurate, meaning the Simon Wiesenthal Center makes inaccurate and exaggerated claims about anti-Semitism to raise money. I'm going to read that again. Even the Anti-Defamation League has acknowledged that the center makes inaccurate and exaggerated claims about anti-Semitism to raise money. It found, for example, that a center fundraising letter the Simon Wiesenthal Center is replete with factual misstatements and exaggerations about anti-Jewish sentiment in the United States and Europe. The fabrication or suppression of information by the center appears to be their mainstay. Indeed, Simon Wiesenthal himself has come under fire. This is the actual person that they named the center after. Indeed, Simon Wiesenthal himself has come under fire for his sordid history of flagrant lying and bold-faced exaggerations. The famed Austrian Nazi hunter, now confirmed by newly found documents to have been an Israeli Mossad agent, was said to never let the facts get in the way of a good story. Interesting, right? Hunting Evil author Guy Walters depicts Wiesenthal as a liar and a bad one at that. He relates how Wiesenthal concocted outrageous stories about his war years and made fictitious claims concerning his academic achievements. Walters found so many inconsistencies between Wiesenthal's three main memoirs and contemporaneous documents that it is impossible to establish a reliable narrative from them. Wiesenthal's scant regard for truth makes it possible to doubt everything he ever wrote or said. All right, so this is Abraham Cooper representing Simon Wiesenthal Center. All right, so in a nutshell, and I think Nick Cannon kind of made this statement that I think in this interview that I think Abraham Cooper kind of shied from saying anything. He was mentioning something along the lines of, if the Jewish people are not in power or anything, then why was it that I guess maybe Cooper and then the center, Simon Wiesenthal Center, everybody started jumping on him. If that's not true, and why is all of a sudden all these Jewish people coming out and having issues if they don't run or control anything? And then he says, and then he gets fired from Viacom. He said, if this is not the case, if you're not really running anything, then why all of a sudden everybody started jumping on me from that community, including Viacom? And I don't think Abraham Cooper ever gave an answer or response to that. I think he deflected to something else, if I'm not mistaken. So you guys need to go watch that interview as well, if you're interested in watching it. All right. Let me see here. Let me see if there's any further to read out. I guess not. I guess that's good enough. So let me get into, I'll get into these other articles here in a little bit, but not right now. Let me just do something really fast here. I want to take document some things myself real fast. All right. Got that taken care of. So you guys, that's the title of it again. Go back. You can read it yourselves. Read it the whole thing through and thoroughly. All right. And you decide for yourself. Hopefully I've broken everything down and made it pretty clear, understandable for you guys. And so I'm going to get out of that real quick, and I'm going to let me exit out. I'll leave that there. So let's go into this book a little quickly for a little bit. All right, there you go. This is also part of the issues going on. All right. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2. All right. There was another article, like I said, there was a couple of articles also by the same person, Jackie Muhammad, if I'm not mistaken here. Let me just verify that. That one doesn't say her in particular. but this one does. The other one, the one I read to you, and another one I'm looking at, it says, the title of that says, A Response to Rabbi Abraham Cooper on the Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. And that was written on August the 4th, 2010. The one I originally read to you was October 12, 2010. So 10 years ago, these researchers was already up on Abraham Cooper and the center and a lot of the games they've been playing. All right, so again, let's tap into this book here. All right, don't know if it's still any more in print or anything like that. This says the second edition, first printing. All right, so what I was just, I kind of found interesting was I just came across, as I was flipping pages just before I got on live, I was flipping pages and came across this page here, which says Banking on Slavery, the Jewish Banking Network in Slavery and Jim Crow. And I was just looking at all these names here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 different lists. You got title up top, Jewish banker, and then there's the state, and then the names of them, the place, the position, and the time frame and description. All right. So they got it started from Alabama, and it goes to, we see Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia. Let me see here. Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, New Mexico, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas and Virginia. All right. So I'm just going to kind of randomly, I'm not going to read everybody's name on here, but in Alabama, you got Siegfried Steiner from Birmingham. He was a bank owner. His position was bank owner, 1887. Once saved the city from bankruptcy, Jewish banker. You got the Lehman Brothers. People are familiar with that name. Alabama, Montgomery, invest banker. So I guess that means investment banker. 1850s, slave owners, cotton traders, factors. All right. I want to also state in this podcast, if any information I'm reading is incorrect, that the ones who say that's incorrect come out and give the correct information if these are lies. I'm pretty sure they're not. Pretty much your jig is up. You're not going to go for this controlling and running, think you're going to run everything. All right. That's basically what it is. The jig is up. All right. So now is the time to be honest and truthful. If you don't want to be honest and truthful, then just don't bother nobody no more. All right. I just say it like that. Okay. From Arkansas. Let me see what we got. You got Moses Mose Stern from Camden, Arkansas, co-founder and director, I guess, of a bank. 1900s, Alchita Valley Bank, president of Board of Trade. Then there's a whole bunch of, what is this? In Arkansas, man, there's a long list on Arkansas. Alabama has a short list. Arkansas has loads of people that they all name that are Jewish and names there. The places, the positions they played in the bank, the roles they played in the bank. We're going to go to Georgia. All right. Georgia has a short list. You got Samuel Brown, Joseph Rosenberg, Selig Bernstein, Moses Michael, Meyer Stern, Jacob Haas, Simon Lesser, Leopold Adler, Isaac Cohen, Octavius Cohen, Solomon Cohen, Abram Minus, Herman Myers, Mordecai or Mordecai, probably could be that, Mordecai Myers, and Elias Wheel or Weil. So that's all the names for Georgia. And they range from Albany, Georgia, Athens, Atlanta, there's one from Atlanta, Jacob Haas. I wonder if there's anything in Atlanta today reflecting Jacob Haas, any type of bank or business there. So you got Albany, Georgia, Athens, Atlanta, Augusta, and Savannah. They range from the founder of a bank co-founder, a bank president, or a bank director, or a board member. All right. The one in Atlanta, 1890s, president of two banks. That is Jacob Haas, Atlanta, bank president, 1890s, president of two banks, cashier of a third bank. Now, I wonder if these banks are still standing today in Atlanta, these two banks. All right. So then you got Kentucky, only has two names. That's Benjamin Gratz or Grates from Lexington, Kentucky. Kentucky, he's a bank founder, the early 1800s, and a slave owner. This is a Jewish person. They all say Jewish bankers. All right. Was a slave owner. Then you have John I. Jacob from Louisville, Kentucky, a bank president. In the 1800s, Bank of Kentucky, city councilor, and a founder of the local gas company and horse car lines. All right. Louisiana has a big list, not as big as Arkansas, but it's a pretty big list. And then the rest of them, let me see here. South Carolina has a decent large list. Tennessee has a decent large list. And that's probably it. Let me see here. Maybe North Carolina has a little bit, not as big as South Carolina. So let me take a look at Tennessee here. It looks like all Memphis and three of them Nashville. So I wonder if any of these banks or what's going on in Memphis. Got Federal Reserve Bank of Memphis. I wonder if that still stands today. Let me see what other banks. The First National Bank, Memphis. I wonder if that still stands today. You got that's A. Cohen, Memphis bank director, 1865 Mechanic Savings Bank. Nathan Annotate in Memphis, bank director in the 1800s, First National Bank. You got Joseph, this is Tennessee, Joseph Andrews, Jewish banker, Memphis, he's a banker, 1840s to 1850s. Cotton seller, broker, founder of Memphis Jewish community, and city alderman in 1847 to 1848. Also, when I'm reading some of this stuff, I want y'all to pay close attention. You can always play the audio back. Those for listening to audio, you can play the video back. Pay attention to the positions they hold. All right. This should be like a education in ownership and getting into things that are dealing with money. All right. Let me see here. What else we got? So I did a few. There was a few in Tennessee. Yes, South Carolina ranges from South Carolina, Camden, Charleston, Columbia, Georgetown, and Hamburg and Manning, and Orangeburg. Those are South Carolina. Like I said, here you go right here. All list. See, it says Jewish banker, and these are all the Jewish bankers' names. All right. The cities that they were in, the positions they held, and what's the other thing here? The time frame that they held it, and descriptions. So if you get a hold of this book, man, you can go to that section of the book and just read it through. All right. Just read it through. Then read the book. I'm going to start reading some more of this now. Since all of this has come up. You know, just reading that part made me really think heavily on some things that I've had discussions with people in the recent times. It's really opened my eyes up some more now to some stuff. Like I said, some conversation I've been having with people in regards to ownership and things like that, and money, period. and not getting into a lot of this nonsense that some people are getting into. All right, so let me real quick. I'm probably just going to show you these articles and maybe just read a small amount, and then I'm gonna get out of here. This is for y'all to go back and look at and read it further if you're interested in reading that. So I'm going to pull up, let me pull up this article here. Here's another article. This is the one I'm going to pull up first. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going on. Seems like when I'm bringing out some stuff, there's always an issue, but we're back. And so real quickly, man, let's pull up these articles before the screens go out again on us. And again, ladies and gentlemen who will be listening to the show, you're going to get the edited version where everything's come together and not these little dead spaces. So those who are listening to the show, what has been happening is every now and then the computer will kind of freeze up. And I don't know if it's just the time of day. Was right now I'm live at 1 a.m. trying to finish things up. And so I don't know if because what I'm putting out here is really some information somebody doesn't want you to know about, or it's a coincidence, one or the other. But regardless of what it is, we're going to get through this and keep it pushing. All right. So let me just document something real quick, just in case things disappear. All right. So here's another article. Like I said, I'm just going to read a small piece of it. This says a response to Rabbi Abraham Cooper on the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, what I just showed John read a little bit of. All right. On July 15, 2010, Rabbi Abraham Cooper, Associate Dean of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, wrote an article titled The Road to Nowhere, Tracing Farrakhan's Anti-Jewish Paranoia, which was also republished on the Huffington Post. This was written in response. And let me see here. I think in this piece, in this article, they just kind of break down and let me see here, talk about pretty much the Jews' relationship involving them being slave owners and things of that sort. Let me see here. According to the co-author of your essay, Simon Wiesenthal Center's Dr. Harold Brockman, during the 1600s, slave trading in Brazil became a Jewish mercantile specialty in much the same way it had been in earlier medieval Europe. Rabbi Mark Lee Raphael wrote that in Curacao, if I'm not Curacao, I guess is how you pronounce it, in the 17th century, as well as in Barbados and Jamaica in the 18th century, Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. In fact, the Jewish Encyclopedia states that Jewish commercial activity in this time included a monopoly of the slave trade, and the large shipments of Africans arriving in New York in the first half of the 1700s were commissioned by Jewish merchants. I could go on, but you really ought to read The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. All right, so that's all I'm going to read on that. Again, here is the title. You guys can pull that article up, finalcall.com. Get a hold of the article. And you can post that up there. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to do something myself. You can look up the article, read it yourself, post it if you like, post it if you wish. All right. As a matter of fact, this is what I'm going to do. All right. Since my computer wants to kind of suspiciously go out, I'm going to do something informative, I guess you could say. Hold on, I'll wait a second on that. Let's see where we at here. Okay. I'll do something here in a minute. Anyway, I read that. That's one article. So I'm going to go to the next article, the final one. Let's pull that up and just read a little bit from that. Make sure you guys get the title of that, as you can see on the screen. Get these titles down so that you will you can look this stuff up yourself. Okay. And do your follow-ups. So it says Liars and Fathers of Lies, response by the Nation of Islam to the Simon Wiesenthal Center report. All right. And again, I say, if any of this is garbage, please send somebody out, do a YouTube video, do a Facebook video, and just show how it's not legit. And then this is September article 2010, 10 years ago. All right. Yeah, we back again, man. I guess they don't want things to come out, do they? All right, this is the final one here, ladies and gents. Hopefully we can get through this. Maybe I tapped on something that they don't want y'all to know because my computer's been acting crazy since I've been going over this stuff. I'm just trying to get it over with, and then y'all can decide on whether it's truth, lies, or whatever else. So I'm going to read this again. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. That's Arthur Schopenhauer or Schropp. That's not with an R. Schopenhauer, maybe. All right. And let me see where we can come down to. The books he's released. Okay. On August 11, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, a self-proclaimed international Jewish human rights organization, issued what it alleges is a response to Minister Farrakhan and the books he released. The report titled Hate Propaganda Masquerading as History. Volume 2 of Louis Farrakhan's The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. They keep saying Farrakhan, but I see the author as saying the Nation of Islam. I don't see Farrakhan in it as like the sole author here. And, we could play back and forth games. They can say, well, yeah, that means the Nation of Islam is Farrakhan. Like nobody else matters or means anything, right? They can play that game and say that's what that means. But I would say that the Nation of Islam means including the people who researched the book. And they always claim that the information in this book, if not 100% of it, a percentage of this book was obtained off of Jewish scholars. So the Jewish scholars apparently put this information out, and the researchers were able to grab that information and put it in the book. So this apparently is coming from the Jews' own people. How Jews gain control of the Black American economy. Like I said, I'm just going to read this because the little bit that I read to you earlier made me think of something, gave me an idea. So that's that. So we're going to go and touch this article real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. Again, here's the title of it. You guys grasp that title, read it yourself, research it, do your own looking at it. I'm just showing y'all the stuff. All right. So, and I read that part. Let me see where I can touch up on a little bit here. Okay, I did read the propaganda part of it. Let's see what else. The Wiesenthal Center's latest report ignores a massive record of racist Jewish misdeeds that are presented in excruciating detail in The Secret Relationships Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2, including the role of Jews in ethnically cleansing Blacks from the labor unions, ignored by Brockman, the extraordinary wealth Jews built in the racist South by strategically targeting and exploiting the newly emancipated ex-slaves, that was ducked by Brockman, the role of Jews in financing and collaborating with the Ku Klux Klan, avoided by Brockman, the role of Jews in forcing the U.S. government to bar Asians from America for generations, dodged by Brockman, the extensive role of Southern Jewish politicians in establishing and enforcing Jim Crow laws, that was evaded by Brockman. Brockman refuses to deal with the prominent role Jewish merchants played in financing the plantations and sharecropping system, the very infrastructure of the racist Jim Crow economy. All right. So that's all I'm going to read on that. You want to get more details, you go to finalcall.com yourself. You can see the title in the description and you can look it up and read it. So I gave you all 3 articles. All right. So before my computer goes down again and I have to bring it back up because of, I guess, I don't understand people trying to just give information. What's the problem? I don't get it. Crazy, man, crazy. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here now. Hopefully that shed some light to some situations, and also hopefully made you think now that you see that people are already been exposed, and you can see that who controls what, because they're coming out and speaking on things and doing certain things. And you can also look at it from a standpoint of start owning stuff. People have been saying this for years. A lot of black people have been saying this for years. Start owning your stuff. Start becoming owners. Start getting into certain realms where the money is at. And you'll have better control of situations. And you can probably help out your communities better if you do that. All right. So keep that stuff in mind. Like I said, just by reading some of the stuff and then going over some of the stuff in the book has enlightened me some more and gave me some other ideas, which would be pretty great, I would say. All right. And so with that being said, ladies and gents, you are rocking with the best. This is Thoughts of the Week podcast. Glad y'all came in. And I'm going to get on out of here until next time. All right. Remember this also, it's never too late to rebuild yourself. All right. Keep that in mind. It's never too late to rebuild yourself. Meaning what? All right. You can rebuild your life. If it's gone in a certain direction, you can rebuild it. You can rebuild your finances. If you've been mismanaging your money, you can rebuild your finances and build back up. You got built a debt, you can rebuild yourself. You can fix that debt, lower it, remove it. All right. You have certain relationships with people, you can rebuild them if you choose to, if you want to rebuild them with the same people, or you want to rebuild new relationships. All right. You got you're not in the best of health, you can rebuild your health. So it's never too late. Doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. You can rebuild your lifestyle, your life. All right. Keep that in mind. All right. So with that being said, I'm out. You're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week. Let's get it. Peace.
Do you know what you're listening to? You're listening to Thoughts of the Week.
Oh, how's that?